Welcome to the Yo-11 podcast. Yo-11 podcast, mostly Vegas no BS casino experience and more. Michael Trager is casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into reality. And now your host, Michael Trager. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. So today we don't have a news story, but we do have something called a podcast ponder, which is that thing we do where we wonder what our audience thinks about certain things. So let's get to the podcast ponder. Today's podcast ponder is, does having a strip view matter? That's what we want to know. A lot of people, when they plan their vacation to Las Vegas, some people have to have a strip view. Some people don't care for it. We're wondering where our audience is on this whole thing. For a lot of first-time visitors, I find that a strip view is a thing. You got to have that strip view. You think you're going to spend more time in the room than you actually end up spending in the room. But you want to have that strip view coming in with the shears open at night, the glorious glow of Las Vegas outside. And then there are some people who are like, oh, I don't care as long as the room is nice. I don't care if I'm looking at a parking lot. Michael, what do you think?
I think up until recently, I would say you need to have the strip view, but I will give a second to a sphere view because I happen to really like the view of the sphere. But pretty much so, nothing beats a strip view. And I love the comparatives between the strip views from Four Seasons Las Vegas or Mandalay Bay, and also from Crockford's. If you don't happen to have a suite that's facing Circus Circus, the Crockford's Resorts World views are sort of great because I love the contrasting them, like how when you're looking out from Mandalay Bay all the way down the strip, and when you're looking from Resorts World all the way down the strip, whole like north versus south kind of thing. And the other thing I would say is my best strip view, or my favorite, was from a suite at Treasure Island. There's that like little like curvature in the strip kind of thing at Treasure Island.
Yeah.
I really like that. If you nail it at Treasure Island, like really nail it, that view is awesome. And then we have recently that intimate strip view from Nobu, from the original Caesar's Palace Tower. So I would think all the strip views are really cool. But I think I agree with you, or I agree with the ponder, that a strip view is really amazing. I would say though, high up makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, just from a perspective thing, with exception to that intimate view. How about you?
I agree. That Treasure Island, I know the exact view you're talking about. I remember it from the suite party you had. I think it was 2017, 2018 or something. But
2018,
yeah, that was one hell of a view, and it's a fantastic view. And I've seen pictures from that view on different websites. It's the curvature of the strip. You see just about everything. It's a fantastic view. It's unparalleled. You won't get a curvy view of the strip like that anywhere else, because just of how Treasure Island is situated. Also, people do love, and one day a bucket list item of mine is to stay at a Cosmopolitan wraparound terrace suite, facing, where you're facing the Bellagio fountains and you're facing sort of whatever's across the street from Cosmo, because you have this whole spanning view of the strip. And it's really great view to have. So I visited someone who was staying at one, and the view was amazing. It wasn't mine, but it was just amazing to be able to share that, and and see that view. It was fantastic. Surprisingly, I also had a great view once from a Flamingo Go room that was towards the side of the building, and from there I had this nice view. Like, it's the same view you normally see from the Cosmopolitan suite, from Cosmo, overlooking the fountains. If you're looking, diagonally across, you see Flamingo. It was the exact mirror image of that, or reverse image of that. Whereas from Flamingo, looking across the fountains and towards Cosmo. It was, surprisingly for Flamingo, it was very nice. So yeah, so if I do
Flamingo
stay on
has
strip,
some great views.
yeah.
Amazing.
if I do stay on the strip, I mean, I don't stay in properties much now, but when I did, come out to visit, if I was staying on the strip, I would try to get that strip view every time. So that's the podcast ponder. Let us know what your thing is. We're gonna post this on social media, and then you can let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll take a look and see what you got to say. All right. That being said, it is time for the tease.
Oh, I can't still talk about views.
You have to get to dinner.
I but I got to tell you about the one time where I had the view at Flamingo, and it was like it had to be like 1989, and they had those floor to ceiling windows, and all I remember so much is almost grasping on the windows because I was in so much pain and vomiting all night
Ooh.
because I got food poisoning from a buffet. The day after seeing Julio Iglesias at Caesar's Palace.
Oh no.
Which is not related to it, but I remember that view, and I have great memories of the also the Cosmo view. But every time you talk about views from Flamingo, I just feel myself grasping, like, oh my God, will this pain ever stop?
And you're just taunted by Vegas outside your window, like, I want to be there, but I'm stuck in here.
I want to be there, and I'm stuck in here, and I gotta go to the bathroom right away again.
That's horrible.
Okay, no. But this is what happens to you, right? Like people have things like that you remember, like a smell from a place or something, which is totally irrational, like even like 20 years later, but you're still drawn back to that feeling you had 20 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever, or a year ago. Anyway, that's it. Yes, let's move it right along because I got to go to dinner.
All right, it is time for the tease.
Okay, well, this is one of those times where we dive a little bit into travel loyalty more than casino loyalty. And I know people are always like, what does that have to do with Yo-11? And that's true. Well, basically, I love talking about travel loyalty. I love talking about casino loyalty. Zorkfest is about both of them. A lot of the content that we have on Travel Zork is about both of them, though it's heavily skewed towards Vegas and casino loyalty. But like the title of this episode, should spend or money determine status, the British Airways Club, there was recently a major change in the way that British Airways is going to award you or determine what your status level on is, and that way it's still based on tier points, but a specific number of tier points are going to relate to the different status levels. That's usual. Many programs do that, just like your Caesars tier points relate to Diamond or Diamond Plus, Win to Win Platinum or Win Black, all that kind of stuff. But the difference is that those tier points now directly relate to how much money you spend with British Airways. So the question becomes, is it a mistake or not a mistake to correlate status to spend? And I've often talked about that. I've talked about it also a little bit with casinos, and that's what we're going to get into in a moment. But I think it is actually, because it is a mistake to correlate it so closely that the spend directly relates to the tier level. Because when you look at this chart, it's sort of like if you spend $25,000, you will make gold, which becomes a reminder of how much money you're spending, which I think is a negative connotation for most people. It would be almost like saying, like reminding you, like say the tier levels for casinos were related to how much money you lost, right? Like, so if you lose $100,000 a year, you're going to be MGM Noir, which is not true. But think about it. Every time a friend would say, I'm Noir, you would immediately said, oh my God, that guy loses $100,000 or more a year. Well, this is like a situation where you say, wow, he's British Airways Gold, which is their basically top, pretty much so their top tier other than like their top tier. And anytime you look at that now, you're going to say, wow, that guy spends basically $25,000 a year on flights for British Airways. So I think it's a mistake to correlate it that closely, not because the concept is a mistake, but because of the connotation. I think what American Airlines did a few years ago was actually brilliant with the concept of LPs, which are loyalty points, even though it was mocked at the time. And that's where that's sort of great, because even though it's very aligned with spend, though it's more complicated than that, the LPs don't equal spend. Whereas like Delta originally totally messed it up when they went to copy American Airlines, refining their revenue-based model in response to American. And that is something, British Airways should have realized with the success of what American Airlines has done with loyalty points with regard to aligning your status levels with spend, or how much money you spend, and the success of what American did and the failures of what Delta did, which had to be tweaked and refined. So that's my main topic here. I'm curious what people think about that. Now, obviously, a big thing with travel loyalty is OPM. You know what OPM is, Movestro?
I have no idea.
Other people's money. So a big thing with travel loyalty is you've got two camps of people. You've got one camp of people who are more like leisure travelers or their own small business travelers. So they're spending their actual hard-earned dollars on this. And right now that relates in British Airways to get the status. Whereas there are other people who work for big companies or consultants, and their company is buying all the airline tickets and they're not spending their money. So in some ways, the OPM, other people's money folks, can be a little they can be a little cocky, man, like, oh, it's no big deal. Yeah, but it is a big deal, because your company's spending the money, which I have nothing against. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not you making a personal decision what you're doing with your money, which I think is quite a differentiator. It would just be like if MGM decided to give me noir status because I was losing Movestro's $100,000 and not mine. So that's I could be a big shot because I'm gambling with Movestro's money. Hey, man, I made noir. Yeah, I had to lose $100,000, but it's his money. Not exactly directly relational, but I think you get my you get my point. So it is very interesting, and of course, there are some really good overviews of this and opinions on this. You can go to British Airways has changed the name to the British Airways Club. It used to be called the British Airways Executive Club, which was BAEC. It's now going to be called the British Airways Club. Head for Points did a very good overview. We will put a link in the show notes to this revenue status, which I think is one of the best overviews out there. And there's also a link on the British Airways website. And British Airways has done a better job. They keep adding things like new ways to earn tier status. So they're trying to get away a little bit from, not from the correlation, but telling you like, oh, you only need to do, if you do this, and this, you'll earn your status. Isn't this amazing? And it's sort of funny, the diagrams they did good diagrams like you do, Movestro, for the luxury hotels, to basically say how you can earn your status. So, or on that kind of thing, you spend this, and they tell you the other ways that you can earn your status other than spend, because the whole tricky part is there are some things you can do that will get you tier points that are not spend. But overall, the overall gist of the program, the way it's been introduced, is spend, how much money you spend. But they're tweaking that a little bit. So we will see. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with that. But my question is, do you think casino status should be related to that? And I guess the answer is, well, hey, dummy, it is related to that, because tier points are related to coin in most cases, right? So at least for slot machine and video poker players, you get your tier points based on coin in. So that's in. So there is a relation. Remember, coin in is not spend, right? If you run $3,000 through a machine, that doesn't mean you spent or lost $3,000. You can run $3,000 through a slot machine and win or lose or break even. So it's not exactly correlated. I think the more exact way that one would be correlating it is by actual loss, not theoretical loss. And that would be really ugly to say, hey, you could become Caesar's diamond as long as you lose $15,000 a year. And that would be ugly. And I think that would be a similar kind of like jolt that you get from when you look at British Airways and you're like, holy shit, I have to spend close to $25,000 a year to get gold status. So that's what I'm thinking. What do you think, Movestro? How do you like, do you think there should be a different correlation? And I guess a really, really good question is, do you think they should, maybe if not a different correlation, they should add a correlation? So if you lose a certain amount of money with the casino, that you automatically get advanced to the status level, not only on your coin in and your action, but based on your loss.
That is a very good question, and I say, why not? That's my answer. That's my very layman's answer.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And actually it does sort of happen, right? Like when a host boosts your status level. I think it's sort of like when people have diamond status and they say, like, why is Movestro's offer as a Caesar's diamond 7 nights a week in a suite, and my offer is $300 a night at Flamingo? And it is because it's based on your average daily theoretical, ADT. And they're sort of, and often, but that's a theoretical loss. But also those offers, as much as casinos will like to tell you, everything's based on theoretical. Everything's based on theoretical. It's not based on status level. It's based on theoretical. It's often based on theoretical is a major component, the most important component, but your actual loss can be a component to get you better offers. For example, in my observation over the years, win loves losers. So your offers will be better from win, it seems, more so than I think some properties, if you consistently lose money.
I just want to congratulate you. It's been 17 minutes since you spoke about win up to this point. I think that's a streak. So good job, man.
Yeah, so no, this is but what do you think about that whole correlation, like on travel loyalty, where it's so easy? If I say to you, oh, this person is this status, that means they spent this much money. Don't you think that's like sort of yucky?
I I can see how it correlates. I mean, you're like you said, tier points correlating to coin in, right? And we're looking at this chart here on the screen. 3,500 in, 3,500 pounds, and but about 3,131. It changes though. I've noticed that the USD amount at the end gets higher than silver and then higher at gold, but for some reason at bronze it just sort of is below the pound level. But yeah, a coin in correlates to your tier
Did
points.
I do that? Did I mess that up? Well, it should be. Oh, I think I messed that up.
Maybe.
I messed that up. Yeah, I messed that up because it's 3,500 pounds should be like $3,700. That was me messing up the chart.
Oh, okay.
Good catch. Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm glad we caught that before. Well, of course, though, there are people who don't listen to the episode and just like look at the chart, and they're gonna be like, you were wrong. I don't know what I did there. I don't know how I did that. Oh, I think I know how I did it. $3,500 is 3,100 pounds. I reversed it on that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I did. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Wow.
I could fix
I
that in
fucked that up.
Photoshop. No problem.
Yeah, I can. Okay, well, that's
Not for
wow.
the video though. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, not for the video,
But
but wow, I fucked that up. Yeah, that's what I did because I was doing it so fast. Yeah, they're supposed to correlate properly, but I did it 75, 75, 93, 20, 20, 25, and it was supposed to be
35,
35,
31.
30, 35, and it was supposed to be 35, 35, and like 39 or something like that. That's so funny that I messed that up. I usually don't, because 3,500 pounds is to US, 3,500 pounds is 4,300 US dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 43.76.75 as today's exchange rate. Boy, did I screw that up. Wow.
It
Okay.
happens. No
But
big deal.
anyway, but really the thesis here, who the fuck cares about bronze? Honestly, bronze is the stupidest color to use for status because actually the color looks like shit. I mean, it really is a bad color to use for status.
Yeah. Yeah. No offense to
Because
any
think of like
Olympic bronze medal winners out there at all, by the way. But yeah, yeah.
I think you know what I think it is. I think it is because of like computer screens and the way
Yeah.
colors are displayed.
Oh, I
Like
agree.
when it's a precious metal, bronze looks
It does not look
nice.
great.
But when you're
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
on,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
When it's done in like a graphics program and trying to find a font color, bronze does not look great. But like I've actually looked at Olympic gold medals and Olympic bronze medals, and I like the bronze medals better in a lot of cases. But like for some reason, when they try to translate that into, a Pantone color or like an RGB color, it just
mhm.
it's eh.
I mean, I
Mm.
don't mean to be nasty that it looks like shit, but I mean it does look like it's like a just like sort of washed. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just a tough color to do for RGB.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the truth. Whereas like silver and gold, you can make them pop. I think it's very hard to make bronze pop. It's just like you can't make tan pop.
Right, right.
Anyway, sorry for screwing up the chart. Make a note on the show notes that I screwed up the chart and it was 100% my fault.
Yeah, I think
So for
everyone knows
people
that
like
by now. It's all
send
good.
me,
I think no need to
yeah,
beat a dead
I know.
horse. We're good. It happens, man.
Okay,
It happens.
okay, okay, yeah, that's so that's it. So I think I don't know. I don't know about this casino thing. I think actually casinos could get away with it because you wouldn't know if somebody got the status via matching or if they got the status via losing money or if they got it via coin-in. So you wouldn't know so clearly. Whereas with travel loyalty, I mean, you can get it by matching, but the matches last for very long. You definitely know it by spend. So that's sort of my story, and that's what I think. And I'm always curious what people think, but I think I just don't like relating anything directly to money where someone looks at something, sees a number, and says, "Oh, they must be spending this much money a year." I just don't think I don't think it's like a positive recognition unless I guess someone wants to brag they're spending money, but that usually isn't a positive thing to do anyway. So, I mean, in a direct way, right? I
Right.
mean, bragging in an indirect way is still different. Like if you look at somebody and say, "Oh, wow, that looks like they have a really expensive backpack," but you still don't know if it's real, right? Unless they tell you like they know, or they have the price tag hanging off of it. Whereas like with something like this, it's very direct. Like, oh, he earned 20,000 tier points, so he must have spent $25,000 or 20,000 pounds.
Right.
So anyway, that's it. That's a wrap on that. That's all. That's everything I got for you.
Alrighty. Before we get going, is there anything on your mind or anything that you want to share?
No, only the fact that I can't believe I screwed up the bronze calculation.
It, it, it happens. I mean, it's not like you're a forex exchanger, so you're good. You're fine.
Well, what was so great about it, though, which is so what I like about, like, one of the things I like about us working together so much is that we bring different perspectives, and you're sort of scratching your head like, this is weird.
The funny thing is, like, I didn't,
And I love that because we do that with other Vegas things too.
yeah, like,
I mean, like,
and I made that graphic. Basically, you said, give me a graphic that's got this in it with these, things. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, and I'll make it pretty. So I put in exactly what I saw. And I wasn't thinking at the time, it's weird that in the bronze level, it's that USD amount is a lot lower than the pound amount. But when you look at the other two levels, it's significantly higher than the pound
you know what
amount.
my problem is? Everybody who does a chart like this only does it in pounds, or basically they only do it in pounds or US dollars. So I was trying to be cute and helpful and like doing all of that, but usually like it's the 3,500, 7,500, 20,000. That's really the reference. But I said, yeah, but our audience is mostly American, and it seems it won't relate to people talking about it in pounds, right? I mean, it just sounds really heavy.
I think you had it in there because it's British Airways. So I guess I don't know, it just felt right that pounds was there because British Airways, maybe.
Well, I actually disagree that they relate it. I know it's British Airways, but they're a global airline, and most things in the world are related to US dollars. Oh my God, American bias. I think they should relate it to US dollars just because there's only one small country that uses the Great Britain pound. So, and the program is for people all around the world, right? So it would be like, like Caesar's coin in is based on dollars, right?
Right.
Of course.
Next time, let's just convert.
But,
let's just convert everything next time to rupees, yen, and Bitcoin, and I think that we should be okay.
Yeah, that's true. But also that brings on what's on my mind is like American bias sometimes, like what Americans like Americans are always like in foreign countries. Sometimes Americans will be like, and how much is that in dollars? I mean, it's like we are always thinking in dollars, and we think, I guess, which is nothing wrong with that. You always think in your own currency, just like you think in your own language. But a lot of things is like, well, a lot of foreign countries don't think in dollar. They're not. They think in their own currency. Like their mind. They don't wake up in the morning thinking about dollars. They wake up in the morning thinking about their own currency. So, it's hard sometimes. That darn American bias.
Yep.
Got it. I got win bias. So I've got win bias now, and I've got American bias and glassware bias.
There you go. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Luxury travel booking, travelzork.travel. Visit us at travelzork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation, not just to Las Vegas, but to anywhere in the world. And feel free to join us on social media and be part of the conversation. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at TravelZork. We'll see you next time.